Sid from Sid's Trains here, and welcome to layout update number 9. So it's been a little while since I did my last layout update. I think my last layout update was sometime during the summer. Not too much has happened to the layout specifically, but lots of things have happened to the room itself, which it has not been totally complete. This was an unfinished room, as you can see. This was one of the walls that was incomplete. So we've had to finish the room, and the room not being complete has been dictating what I can do with the layout. So as more is done, I can then do more progress on the layout. But I've done some stuff to the room, and I'm going to show you that today, and then I'm also going to show you all the stuff I got over the summer, which is a decent amount of stuff. So let's go in for a closer look at what I've done to the room, and then we'll take a look at what I've got. So as I said in my last layout update, one of the things I've been working on a lot is the lighting in the room. This room originally had one light bulb in the center, which is that little hole right there is where it used to be. But now I've added 10 can lights, as you can see. They're in rows. There's 5 in a row, and these are all color changing LEDs. And it adds a lot. It makes this room a lot brighter, and I can do a lot with these lights. There's a remote right here. Here's the remote. And with this remote I can change the colors. I can make it seem like nighttime. And I can turn them on and off without having to flick the switch. But since the last video that I did on the room, I've added more lights. Before, I think this set right here and another set at the end were not hooked up completely. So since then I've hooked them up, and it's a lot brighter in here as well. And one other thing about these lights is, as you can see, there are rings around them. There are these white rings that keep them from looking like this over here. If you look closely, that light's very bright, but it's hard to tell, but there is a metal ring that is originally with the can light, and then when you put the other rings on, they look more like this. It's really hard to tell because of how bright these lights are. Let's see if I can get it to adjust the brightness. No, I can't get it to, but at the moment. But these rings make the lights look a lot better, and it's better than having just a metal ring from the can light. So that's been a big improvement on the room since the last update video. And now let's go look at some other stuff I've done since the last update video. Another thing I've got done since the last update video is getting these 4 sets of switches hooked up. Originally I only had these 2 set up, which are for the lights, and then the fan over there, which sucks the smoke out of the room. But these 2 sets up here were not hooked up, and what they are for is some different outlets around the room that are controlled by switches. These 3 here are for the power for the trains, which is right down here. If you can see, there's these plugs down here, which the trains are plugged into at the moment, and those switches turn on and off these 3 outlets down here. And then let me come back and show you. This switch here on the next set is for this plug down here over under the little table where the big boy is usually stored, and then under the shelves. That switch is for this outlet down here. This switch is for the outlet on the left up here, and this is a shelf that's in the bulkhead above the big curve down here. And I just plan on plugging maybe my Railscope TV in up there, and I just want to make sure that I can then turn it on and off. And then the last switch, which is right here, is for a plug that is over in that hole over there. Let me zoom in. There we go. It's for that plug in there, which we are still working on, but it's for that. And that is going to be for powering an LED strip, which will be on the bottom of the bulkhead here. Let me zoom out. So that LED strip will be on the bottom of this bulkhead here, and we just want to be able to turn that LED strip on and off by using that box over there. So yeah, hooking up this set of switches over here has been another thing I've been working on, and I'm very glad, because now instead of turning on the trains with a switch that's under here, you can see right there, that red switch, I can always leave that on and instead use the outlet down here. So that's a very big and a very helpful improvement, and I'm glad that I've done that. So now let me go show you one of the last things that I've done to the room, and then we can look at some of the new stuff that I've got for you. So over there, hanging out of the bulkhead, you see two gray wires. Those are a gray wire that has around 9 wires on the inside each, and that runs all the way along the bulkhead. And as you see, they're drooping down there a little because they're not totally up in the ceiling. And they run through the ceiling, through the wall here, as you can see. And then they come down this wall here, where all these yellow wires are. They're all back in here. And when they come down, it might be hard for you to see, but let me grab one here. And they all come down right here out of this little panel here. And what these are for is for a shelf that I will be adding onto that bulkhead. That bulkhead will have a shelf that I just stated coming out of it, and on it I will have older post-war and pre-war accessories lit up, and a train running back and forth along the bulkhead. And I want to be able to have wires in the ceiling. So instead of just having them ran along the ceiling, I want to have them up in there. So I've ran this wire in the ceiling and along the bulkhead. So yeah, that's another thing I've been working on, so that when I patch up the front of this bulkhead and patch up this big hole over here, I don't have to then take it off again and then put the wires up in. I'll just have them already in the ceiling. But that's been a good improvement and another good project, and that will be something that will be coming in the future, that shelf. So that's been another good thing, and now let's go look at the new stuff I've got. So here's the first little batch of new stuff I've got. This first item here is a Lionel tin flat car. I have one very similar to this, except it's in like a more of a primer gray. This one I saw at my local train store, and it was in this really cool kind of creamish yellow color, and I thought I'd get it. I think it's a later model due to the trucks being this type instead of the old style with the slide shoes on them. But it's cool. I cleaned it up and now it's nice and shiny, and there was not very much rust on it either, which is pretty surprising for it being a tin car. But it's nice, and I'm glad that I picked it up. Let me slide this forward here, and I'll slide the next car up. This car here is actually not mine. This is actually my dad's. We both found this at my local train store. And it's a KMT Kentucky Fried Chicken car. KMT was a competitor to Lionel in the actually the late 40s and early 50s. And they made some pretty nice products. This is from, pretty sure, the 50s, and it's a almost scale boxcar. So that's pretty cool, and it's also cool because it's Kentucky Fried Chicken. But it's a nice car, and again, it's not mine, it's my dad's. And it's a KMT product. Now let me roll this forward, and I will roll the last 3 of these cars forward. Oh, sorry for shaking the camera. This here is a K-Line ESO tank car. There's not too much wrong with it except for one thing. That's actually 2 things. If you look closely, this wheel right here is cracked a little. It's really hard to see there. Then maybe there you go. You can see it's cracked, but it's easy to find these kind of wheels and axles. Then the other thing is that it's missing a ladder here. As you see, there's a ladder here, but there's not one here. But other than that, it's a nice car, and I found this too at my local train store. And this is, if I'm correct, this is actually a design from the same company that made that Kentucky Fried Chicken car, KMT, because all the KMT tankers have this same feature that the top opens and then it has this very same casting. So my guess is K-Line used the tooling from the KMT tanker. Now let me roll this forward and show you this caboose here. This is again a KMT product. I found it at my local train store. It's a Louisville and Nashville caboose. It's a very nice caboose. The top here pops off, and inside you can see the bulb. It's kind of funny. The bulb makes the whole caboose glow because the red plastic is very thin. On this side, the printing is missing a little, but that's not a big deal. And one other thing about early KMT items is that they have these cool silver rims on the wheels. So that's pretty cool. But again, this is a KMT product, and I found it at my local train store. And to mention the local train store that I mention a lot in my videos, it is Lionel Buy and Sell Potomac Trade in Kensington, Maryland. This is again from the local train store, and this is actually a Marks product. This is a Marks Erie 51170 gondola, and a cool thing about it is that it has these open ends, and this is not broken. This is how it was cast from the factory. It has the classic tilt couplers from Marks. And these barrels did not come in it. I just had them in it after I bought it. But it's a nice car, and it's always cool to get some Marks stuff, because Marks made some pretty cool stuff for making trains for a fairly decent price back in the 50s and the 60s. But that's the first batch of stuff, and now I will move on to the next stuff I've got. So this next little batch of items you see in front of you are some items that I've got from different places. The first item you see is a 1666. That came from a collection that I mentioned in my last layout update video. I bought a small collection of trains, and it was in the box of trains. It did not run, and by the last video it was not running. So since then I fixed the E unit, which was not allowing it to run. And now it runs perfectly. The headlight works. It's a perfectly running engine. The items behind it, which are the 2666W whistle tender, the Lionel pre-war tin dump car, the Lionel pre-war gondola, which opens on the side, and then a Pennsylvania N5C caboose from the pre-war as well. Yeah, I'll pull these items up here. So here they are, and all the tender, the dump car, the gondola, and the caboose, they all came from a store in New Mexico. That's where I went for my summer vacation, and while I was there I found a store called the Train Room. It used to be a bigger shop, but now is ran out of a small kind of closet room, but there's a lot of trains in the little room, lots of product, and the owner is very nice. When I got it, the whistle tender did not work, but now it works very well. The dump car just needed a little bit of lubing and tuning, and then this car just needed one of the linkages that controlled the opening of the side door to be reconnected. And then the N5C caboose in the back just needed a new light bulb in it. So let me just push this back, and this is a nice set. It's a cool little pre-war set to have now, and it looks cool running around the layout. So now let's go look at some more stuff I've got. So up next, I have this Lionel Union Pacific caboose. If you look closely, you might recognize this caboose. I already have this caboose, and what it is a just a Lionel Union Pacific caboose with smoke and illuminated interior. It's a Vision caboose, and I already have this caboose. I usually pull this behind my Big Boy and PFE reefers. If you can see them in the background, they're sitting back there. But I usually pull this behind that, and this is a different one. I found this on eBay, and it was buy it now for 99 cents. That's right, 99 cents. The caboose by itself was only $1, plus then shipping, which was about $12. So this is a Lionel smoking caboose for $13. That is a very, very good deal. I just found this by chance. I just searched up smoking caboose and it came up on eBay, and I'm very glad that I did that the day that I saw this, because $13 for a smoking caboose is a very good deal. So I may never even take this out of the package just because it's brand new and it was only $13. But I probably will, because there's no point in leaving trains in their boxes, because they're meant to be ran and they are not meant to just be sitting on a shelf in a box. So that's cool. I just can't believe that I got this for $13. But that's cool, and I'll probably at some point we'll take it out and start running it. But for now, let's go look at some other stuff I've got. So up next is this Lionel Allegheny train set. You may recognize this if you've been watching my channel and watched my videos pretty frequently. I made a unboxing video of this about a couple weeks ago, and it showed all the information about the set and the set up in action. If you want to find out about this set, you should go watch that video, but I wanted to show you this in case you hadn't watched that video. But yeah, I got this over the summer, and it's a very cool set due to the mighty sound of steam and some of the other features. And one other thing is that I got this from my local train store, which I have stated about other items. But anyway, let's now go look at some other stuff I've got. Up next is a beast of an item. This is the Right of Way Industries transformer that they made during the 80s. This thing is humongous and it weighs a ton. If you've watched my videos for a while, you know that I already have one of these. So this is my second one I have. And I bought this from the same person that I bought the other one from, which is someone that I met at York, and then I found out that he sold things on eBay, so I've bought the other Right of Way transformer and this one from him. So yeah, this thing is huge. It puts out a lot of power, and if you want a good transformer for your layout, I recommend finding one of these. It might be a bit hard to find one, because it took me about 5 years to find my first one, and by chance I came across this one and I just had to get it. But it's very nice. Has 2 throttles here, and it has a bell and whistle and then the sound button. It puts out around 30 volts of power per channel, and it has 400 watts total, so 200 and 200. This thing is a beast of a transformer, as I've stated now a couple times. It's just such a nice transformer, and I recommend it to anyone in the hobby of O-gauge model railroading. So definitely try and get one of these if you can. And anyway, this is just another item I've got, and I just wanted to show it to you because it's just a really cool item. So now let me go show you some other things that I've got from the same seller when I went to go pick up this transformer. So now we're just outside the train room. There's the train room door. And here is a box of stuff that I got from the same guy I got the Right of Way transformer from. Actually, this box here is just something that I'd thrown in there. But inside this box are some animations. This one is a front end loader that is scooping from the back and then scooping in the front as well. And when you apply power with these wires, that moves up and down, and it's just really cool. Under here there's some more stuff. If I can open the box, here we go. This one, the man here pulls this back and pulls the side of the wall up, and then this one here has this truck dumping, and then this scooping dirt out of this hole here. So it was very nice of him to throw these in as a deal with the transformer, and I'm glad I have them because now I can use these on my layout when I get some scenery started. And let me turn around, and there's one other thing that he gave me as part of that deal is this big board here. I'm actually not going to use this whole thing, but what it is was another big animation, and if you look down, I don't want to turn it all the way over, but there's these grooves, and then there's these metal plates here, and those ran around these little tracks here to simulate like horses or people running around. And it's just a very cool item. But what I'm going to use it for is this motor here and this big gear right here with this pin. I'm going to use that to drive the turntable I'm going to build, and then I might be able to use these chains for other things. But it was very gracious of him to throw that in as part of the deal, and I'm very happy that I have this now. So I'll probably be using that for the turntable and some other things to come. But I'm glad that I got them, and now we'll go back into the train room, and I'll probably show you the last thing I've got, and then we'll run some trains to wrap it up. So the final thing I've got for you guys is something I got over the summer from my local train store as well. This is a Lionel Sue Line SD60. It's from around 1997, 1998. It has command control, rail sounds 2.5. Technically it's called Rail Sounds 3, but Rail Sounds 3 wasn't really totally a thing. They got rid of one of the RPM levels so they could add the tower comm and then the crew chatter to it. But this is an amazing engine. I had seen this at my store that I go to for a while, and he had it discounted, so then I just picked it up over the summer. It has dual speakers on the bottom here. It has dual pull motor, so it has a lot of pulling power. It has operating dish lights on the front here, operating couplers on each end. It also has a strobe light on top, and then it has this knob back here for adjusting the sound, and this cover comes off for putting a battery in case you're going to run it in conventional mode. But this is a very nice engine. I had seen videos of it on YouTube, and I just love the horn on it. So I decided with it being discounted I'd pick it up, and I'm very glad I did. You may have seen this in my last video, which was I think my I don't know which running video it was, but it was a running video, and this engine was one of the first engines in it. So if you saw that, I'm just telling you now in case you didn't see that video. But anyway, this is a very good engine. I'm glad I picked it up, and now we'll go wrap this video up by running some trains, including this and then one other train, which let me discuss that other train for a minute. So here's the other consist that I will be running in the end of this video. It may be strange that I'm telling you about a consist that I'm running in the end of the video, because I usually just run whatever. But this is actually a request by a subscriber and a friend at school. He asked me if I could run my Lionel Yellow Belly Hudson, and then these string of cars behind it, this specific set. He knows what I have, and he just asked me if I could run this stuff. So I said yeah, and in the end of this video I will be running this consist for him. So yeah, the Sue line is backed up to the train over here, and the Yellow Belly is here. So now let's wrap it up by running these around for a little.